Welcome back to the channel. Jay Garcia enters the transfer portal. Frank Ponce leaves and goes back to Appalachian State. And Jim Harbaugh is coming back to the Michigan. I'm about to say Memphis, the Michigan Wolverines. Let's get started. So, recently, Jay Garcia, as of today, January 17, 2023, Jay Garcia has entered the transfer portal. Jay Garcia was one of the highest rated quarterbacks in recent memory that the University of Miami were able to get. And obviously with that lofty ranking, lofty expectations were, tied to it. For whatever reason, injury, just maybe not adapting to the playbook, maybe not putting forth the effort, or maybe it just could be flat out coaching. He did not reach that particular potential, right? As far as potential landing spots, obviously the first place that most people would say would be SMU, to go play with Red Lashley. I believe towards maybe even after his freshman year. Obviously, there were rumors to Nebraska because I think his father is a alumni of Nebraska. But Nebraska just recently brought in Jeff Sims. And they also are in the Dylan Raiola sweepstakes, even though he just recently got crystal to the University of Georgia after decommitting from the Ohio State University. So those are two options. And then maybe if we look in the ACC, obviously he played his high school ball, the last year of his high school ball in the state of Georgia, won a state championship there. So I'm sure Georgia Tech, as well as the University of Georgia, probably got a good look at the young man, probably extended some offers, but obviously he was he was really, really locked in with the University of Miami. But who knows? But usually when these particular situations occur, most people feel like they have a landing spot, seeing as that the transfer portal is about to end, or this particular first window is about to necessarily close. It's getting right up close to time for students to enroll in school. So for this particular move to happen right now, maybe there were some things going on in the back channel. So it wouldn't surprise me maybe if he has a landing spot, sometime this week or however this particular thing works. I don't really get involved in it. And those are just four particular locations that I'm not saying I could see him going. Obviously, like I said, SMU could probably be one. Some people said going back to App State and with Frank Ponce, but I don't necessarily know how well he and Ponce got along as far as just a relationship, quarterback to quarterback coach. And that's not the guy that recruited him. So I don't necessarily know. So I don't know if he has 3 years of eligibility left. He may even have 4 years of eligibility left, because that whole COVID thing kind of really threw a lot of things off, threw a lot of things out of whack. So I don't really know. And I'm going to end it on this. I know Jake had a lot of fans in his fan base, and I can tell, based on the well wishes, the missed potential, the misused comments that I've seen, and I'm just going to keep it a buck. The man did not live up to expectations. The man turned the ball over. The man did not look prepared, nor did the man look ready. At no point did I see anything in a game that made me say that some of this information or this rhetoric that I've heard for the last part of a year and a half talking about he was neck and neck with Tyler Van Dyke, I didn't see it on the field. So how some guys are gamers? Maybe he was a practicer. Maybe he looked good in practice. I don't necessarily know. But the only reason I'm saying this is because a lot of people that turned sour on Jalen Knighton, and I didn't really like the way that a lot of fans, took it upon themselves or took the liberty to try to diminish him, a guy who's actually proven at this level. But now it seems that you want to coddle someone who, at least in this small sample size that we see, don't look like you can play at this level, at a high level, right? And I'm going to leave that at that. So moving on, Frank Ponce goes back to Appalachian State. Now, when I saw this news, the first thing that went through my mind was the first two things went through my mind. Why does App State have an offensive coordinator job ready for you again? It's kind of weird. And then secondly, if you're going back to the group of 5 level, it kind of makes me seem as if you shouldn't have been allowed to come to the P5 level in the first place. In the professional world, this is called nepotism. In a personal situation, we call this somebody throwing you a bone. This is my homie. My friend is looking out for me. He's gonna get me a job. But flat out nepotism. And it was just so interesting, man, when they did the write-up about it, talking about, what he did at App State as far as his statistics and stuff. I'm like, this has nothing to do with being a quarterback coach, man. At this particular day, it's irrelevant. You know what I mean? Probably shouldn't have been hired in the first place. As a collective, the offensive staff did not produce. Obviously, injuries played a role in it. Learning the new scheme, bickering back and forth between coaches played a role in it. But at the end of the day, this is probably a hire that we could have did without. Quite honestly. But good luck to Frank Punch. Maybe he may get back up to a Power 5 level. Some people may have, some people state maybe his reason for leaving is that obviously we're getting rid of Josh Gaddis, and maybe he felt that he should have gotten a shot at being offensive coordinator, and Mario may have told him like, nah, so he went back to App State. So again, that may be one of those conspiracy theory type of things, but I don't necessarily know. But at the end of the day, Coach Ponce is gone, and many people feel that Coach Gaddis is on the way out right behind him. It's just as soon as maybe he can land on his particular feet, but I don't necessarily know. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Lastly, Jim Harbaugh is back. He's coming back to the University of Michigan after flirting with the NFL for another year. So I know many people, like I said, I've listened to people that are more in the know of these particular situations, so I just kind of regurgitate a lot of the things that I hear them say, and also a little research that I do on myself. But I know their recruiting classes are not where they need to be. The NIL collective is necessarily not where it needs to be, but it is working to get there, even though there's still some hurdles to clear. But from a Big Ten perspective, the University of Michigan should be in position to win the Big Ten for a third consecutive year. Ohio State will be getting a new quarterback. There also will be, I guess they're going to run the experiment of letting Brian Hartline call plays, even though I don't really foresee that. I really think that Ryan Day is probably still going to call plays. Penn State loses a particular quarterback. Maybe a wild card, and maybe we shouldn't put a lot of stock into it, but, the University of Wisconsin getting Luke Fickell, and then also hiring Phil Longo coming in. So that may take some time to actually swap out the pieces from a power run-based offense at Wisconsin to try to get it to what we saw in North Carolina. So Jim Harbaugh should be in position again to actually win the Big Ten. But winning the Big Ten and getting to a playoff game and getting your face potentially pushed in by an SEC team, I'm sure that is not necessarily how he wants this to particularly go. Could be in a situation potentially where in the NFL, maybe the margins of talent is not as big, or they are not allowed to get as big as they get in college football, and we never know. So I don't necessarily, obviously he's coming back, and I do think there probably needs to be some tweaks in their offensive attack. I saw some things from J.J. McCarthy that, left me scratching my head. Has a nice ball, has the prototypical size, can move around and run a little bit, but he's going to have to develop a downfield passing attack, as well as getting some guys that can catch the ball going down the field. But he does, from our reports that I hear, they are returning one of the best, if not the best team in the Big Ten. And when we talk about guys who are in position to actually contribute and play right away. So it'll be interesting to monitor the Big Ten this upcoming year to see if Harbaugh can make it a third consecutive year winning the Big Ten, and maybe he could potentially get over the hump. Who knows? But as always, man, like, share, subscribe, comment, and it's always all about you.